grab some information. So we are in Central 1, functions project ID. Okay. Yeah, so copy that. Vim, our function. Region, so this is US Central 1. Our project ID is yjigsaw, cloudfunctions.net. Our function name is CIS680 endpoints demo. And I think that should be it. Yes. Okay. So we have added this YAML file, we've updated it. Basically, we just have a configuration for this particular demo here. So, the address field in the X Google backend. Region, we did that. Did that. Okay. We're not going to set security right now, but we could if we wanted to make this locked, right? We also, if you recall from earlier, we set allow unauthenticated. All right, Cloud Run hostname, we did that, although they don't want the HTTPS part of that. So we just want that guy. Yep, okay. Title, Cloud Endpoints plus GCF. This becomes the name. Keep an eye on that. Let's go ahead and save it and deploy it. So gcloud, endpoints, services, deploy, openapi.yaml, -- project, wide jigsaw 307717. Hopefully we didn't make any typos. And what we should see once this is done is we should be able to pop over to Google Cloud, go to our endpoints, click the wrong thing, try again because we misspelled endpoints. Once this is set, we should have a new endpoint up there. Everything has been set. We are good. We go ahead and refresh here. We should see an endpoint pop up, and we have it right there, which was a moment of truth because it's been a while since I've done this locally on a machine. Typically, again, I do it inside the Cloud shell, but nice to see it is feasible. So we now have an endpoint, and we have some information here as well. So we basically have our service configuration. We can manage it, which is basically where I just showed you. Now, let's go ahead and say gcloud services list. We should see in here, here's our Cloud Endpoints service right there. Done. See the required services. All right, let's go ahead and enable them just in case. All right, so let's add this, make sure we've got it. Service management, there it is. Okay, so we do have it. We also have service control. I do not see service control, so let's enable that. And endpoints, I don't actually see in here, so we'll enable that one as well. Also enable your endpoint service, which we have up here, so that should be fine. Make sure that this matches. So basically, I'm just making sure that our endpoint service is enabled. I can see it right here, but I just want to make sure that the service name matches because I've been bitten in the past by thinking I did it correctly and then realizing that was for a different demo that I was working on. So we have our open endpoints, or our Google Cloud Endpoint service working. We built an open API configuration file to be fed into ESP2. So let's go ahead and deploy this particular image here. So there is a lot of text. Basically, it just goes into the fact that we're using Docker instead of building everything from by hand. All right, so we now need a script. So this script is basically a image that we're going to be building. Lots of stuff in here that is specific to how we build this Docker image. I'm going to go ahead and get the raw version, and we'll save it. Oof, this is going to be fun because this is deep, 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 deep into my local repository here. All right. So chmod +x gcloud build image. I added .sh, but it wasn't necessary. Okay, so /g cloud build image -s cloud run host name. Now our cloud run host name was that thing that we copied earlier, and we need a config ID. What is the config ID? That's a new one here. Don't include the protocol name. Glad that they told me that after I copy and pasted it. Or at least before I ran it, so that's fine. What is the config ID? That is a new variable, no? Server config. Okay, so they did give it to me, and I just didn't read it. Service configuration. There it is. Okay. Might have to go into my bash history for some of these things. So I need this particular variable name. And let's go ahead and finish this command. So -c config ID, and our ESP project ID was why Jigsaw. Again, love these auto-generated names. Now, let's go ahead and build. So again, this is going to do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. If you want to dig into it, you are more than welcome to. We're just going to use it as a basic image that we are deploying here. And if you are interested, I mean, this will take a few minutes, so I will probably cut in a moment, but this is going up to that gcr.io repository, and then it's going to be tied with your particular ID. Yeah, BRB. And that was very quick. Usually takes a lot longer. So now we actually need to deploy this thing. So what we did is we pushed it up to Cloud Build, and now we need to run it, which means we have to send it to Cloud Run. Now let's go ahead and grab our service name. Our service name is this guy here. Clear. gcloud run deploy service name. Image equals gcr.io slash get our project ID again. Okay. And now slash endpoints runtime serverless colon ESP version. Oh, there are some configs in here that I probably need. All right. Oh, good, I can't scroll. All right, ESP version. Oh no. Cancel. Let's go in our history. All right, where are we at here? Oh, these are all just commands. Shoot. Let's go into Cloud Build and see if we can find some of this info since I forgot to keep an eye on it. Here's my build. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and rebuild just to grab this, and I'm going to get charged for doing another build. But I need the details and I forgot to save it offline. I'm sure I could probably tease this apart, but all right. Well, what we're gonna do now that we're back, is I forgot to copy down some important information from the build. So I'm going to hopefully be able to modify the command that I used before to get the details I need. So make sure that you store off some of these variable names. Gcloud, run, deploy. Cloud run service name, that is this one. Okay. Image equals gcr.io/esp project ID, which is my project ID right here. You go in there and slash endpoints runtime serverless colon. ESP version is 2. Cloud run hostname is this guy. And I don't think we want the HTTPS on there, so I'm going to take it off. Okay, dash config ID. And our config ID is this thing right here. So it was given to us before when we deployed. 15R0 quote. Then we want, oops, space on the wrong thing. Allow unauthenticated, authenticated, what form managed project equals, no quote, but to recopy this. Okay, hopefully that works. You know what we can do? I'm being silly here. Let's just go to our cloud build. You can actually see that in this little point here that it's been up and running. Okay, so we have our most recent build here. Now, how do we get access to this thing? What is our URL? Here it is. Okay. So I forgot to copy down important details, which means I couldn't just copy and paste them into the command. So what I did was I went to Cloud Build. I found the build that I just performed, and I'm going to the image here because I know that it starts with gcr.io, and I'm going to copy and paste this into here now. So if I go ahead and replace all of this image line with my link, it should work just fine. Okay, and we're going to get rid of, okay, we have everything we need there. Everything else should work. Okay, there we go. I got a big error before saying could not find image, which again, all the info you need is right there in Cloud Build. And if you are watching this and wondering why I'm looking so flustered, it's because there's about 20 minutes of me dinking around in Google Cloud trying to find the right values when it was just in Cloud Build. Of course. So we now have a service URL. All right, I am going to go ahead and copy all of this to my notepad just in case, so I don't have to look foolish again. All right, so we now have deployed our container. Now in Cloud Run, we should see the Cloud Run instance, we should see the service account. We need to give that service account the permissions to act on this particular image. So let's go to Cloud Run. We're going to see our build. Okay, so there we go, Cloud Endpoints demo. And we want, if the is deployed without using the file. Okay, so we are skipping the service account management because we are allowing unauthenticated. But if you wanted to, we'd have to grab the service account name and grant that access. However, we then should be fairly set. because we have set no authentication. Okay. Now, let's set some environment variables. So I am in Linux. Here's the PowerShell command. So we want endpoints host equals to our gateway, which is our host field. So our host was, I believe, this guy. Let me cancel this quickly and check my open API. Our host is, yeah, that exact same thing. Stream of consciousness demoing. Isn't that the best? Export endpoints host equals our host name. And this is just an environment variable. Now, we should have access to our endpoint. And this is the moment of truth. Curl request get. So we're doing a get call. If you remember, that is one of our RESTful API types. Header, content type, application/JSON, and then we are sending to our endpoints host. So that's our variable. We're sending hello. So just to break this down, we're sending a curl request, which again, just interacts the web service. We're sending a JSON packet, or we're expecting to send a JSON packet. We're not really sending one here, but we are targeting our endpoint API and we're sending it the parameter hello. And if you looked into some of the steps earlier, we'd see that's one of the parameters we're expecting for our API. So if we hit enter, we should see some information. I love that we curled the entirety of the web page. So a bunch of CSS here, and we see it's running. We deployed a container image. Now, let's do this a little bit better. So if we go ahead and cat endpoints host, or cat echo endpoints host, and we then are going to copy this. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to visit this page in a browser. All right, so let's go https that/hello. Look at that. This is one of the nifty things that will be returned if you did it successfully. Okay, again, this is part of the image. You could just have it output text that says hello there or something of that nature. But basically, we have a publicly accessible API interface, which is good. We have logged in through a local terminal. We have basically worked with it. And now we can interact with Google services based on this API. So I could rebuild this thing instead of hello, we could get analytics from BigQuery. We could send an email. We could move some storage buckets around and upload files, move files, whatever we need to do. We now have an interface to that. And if we want to check out what we've got going on activity-wise, again, kind of good to manage from a cloud admin perspective and or applications developer, we should start seeing some actual activity happening. So it's probably not updated yet, since I haven't really done much. No date. Okay, well, it'll take a minute. Let's just start querying it. Bunch of requests. All responses. Maybe that's the issue. I want everything. Give me all you got. No data. Okay, maybe it takes a few minutes. We have basically created an API, created an endpoint. We see our requests here. Life is good. Go forth and use this in your projects so that you can have your local applications talk to Google services. Anyway, hope you had fun. If you do want to extend this, I should mention too, because we are just tied to this session in our local terminal right now, right? If you want this to be a long-term thing, go the authentication route, set up a service account, tag your particular, local build with that service account so that your endpoints API understands that that's what you're calling it from. Anyway, hope this was useful for you all. I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.